Alright, we're going to discuss here in this video um, just the global situation after all the elections and all this other stuff has settled down into the year. It's been months. And I'm going to talk about just my opinion on what's going on. Okay? Now, a lot of people have asked me, why'd you stop making videos talking about all these topics and that? Because basically, there comes a time to speak out, and there comes a time where you just shut your damn mouth and try to figure out what the hell is going on. Okay? And in all of my videos about the health issue, the political situation, elections, and all that other stuff, okay? Over the course of all this time, when all of it started, it's over a year. It's been a year, almost a year and a half. Okay, a lot's gone on. Nothing really much has changed, okay? And you have to look at the big picture and try to figure out, second guess, what's going on here, okay? And also, I highly recommend you find somebody or go to other sources. A lot of them, Europeans, Russians, okay? A lot of commentaries in Russians, if you can get it translated for you, whatever. Listen to what these people, their opinion is on it. Because sometimes you need a view of other people to kind of see what the big picture is, or get a different perspective, more or less say. Alright, so anyway, like a lot of guys, when I had my chat, they're going, oh, well, why don't you talk about this and won't talk about that? Well, because when things really heated up and all these things were going on, I kind of sensed my channel was being, the more people who went to these videos, the more attention I was drawing in. I got nailed once with a warning talking about the health issue. Health issues, yeah, that's what I got a warning for. It wasn't about making guns or any of this other stuff. You were being censored for speaking out against political views and views on health issues, okay? Which, everyone, oh, freedom of speech, this and that. Well, the bottom line is they're kind of like paying me to make videos. I'm not paying them to be allowed to make videos and use their platform, their technology to get the word out. So I can't say that, when you say, hey, my rights, this and that, nobody really cares, okay? So let's kind of look at the situation here. Now, a lot of people, when I was running my chats, all the different things, there was a lot of rioting, there was a lot of turmoil in that. And like I said in my other videos, this is a technique. When you get it on the news, when you give people the sense of panic, that everything is unstable, that you're not safe, that there are groups of people marauding around armed, coming to harm you in your home. This is a psychological technique to throw you off balance. At the same time, you're being bombarded with all this crap that you're going to catch a virus and then die. Okay? And then all these restrictions, and a lot of this is ridiculous stuff. The only time I've seen it is when you're in basic training. Part of basic training for any branch of the military, or it used to be, I don't know, they probably don't do it no more, is they do a lot of things that make no sense to see if this would aggravate you to the point where you would have a breakdown. Just something stupid or simple, like, put this on, wear this all the time, or do it this way, dress this way, or walk around a certain way, because that's what you're told to do. Basically, it's a test to see, even though you don't understand why, will you follow orders? And this is what this whole health crisis was, is will you follow orders? Okay? Some people mention the new version of this, okay, that they're going to be going door to door and all this other stuff. And it's like, look, here's the simple reality of it all. This is like a bullshit call. And of course, when my wife hears about it, it's kind of like, well, you know what they're going to do. If you don't answer the door or you don't answer their questions, they're going to make a list to have your address, your name, and everything, and who talks to them, who doesn't talk to them. And I can see where, yeah, I can see that. I can see what makes the whole concept scary. But realistically, okay, like I said, the way this country is and the way the economy and everything is falling apart with the way just everything is being done, do you think they can muster enough people to go out, walk door to door in this country and actually compile some kind of list? Number one, the amount of people they would have to do that, to do this in any timely fashion, say for 6 months to say a year to do this project. Do you know how many people you would have to send out to do this? And then who's going to pay for all of this to compile this crap? All right? I mean, it's nuts. It won't work. Okay, it's like when they were having all the restrictions for health reasons. A lot of people my age or older say, hey, it's going to be martial law. They're going to send the military in, and soldiers are going to come and force us to obey the federal mandates or whatever. Okay. Well, again, after 1990, they cut the armed forces in half. And really, the armed forces are way smaller than they were in the past. And, even with the National Guard and all this other stuff, to mobilize these people, there's just not enough of them to do it. Okay, it's, how can I put it? It's impossible to do it. You might get control, yeah, you can muster up the whole resources of a state, cover maybe a large city or a small city. And this whole process and everything we've seen on the news in the last year, it's all practice runs to gauge the feasibility of doing this. And in my opinion, I don't see how they can do it. Okay? So to get upset over it or worried about it, really, that's why when people were bringing this up during the chat, it's kind of like, stay calm. That's why I haven't. I mean, I voiced against it as it was going and got caught up into it. And it just fizzled out. Much like the gun and ammo buying craze, which is part of it. It's all interconnected. Okay? But I think a big problem is the condition that our government is in. Okay? I haven't paid attention. I stopped watching the news months ago, and I didn't believe it. I had some spare time, and I went looking at what was on Fox 8 or whatever, them broadcasting about the president and the vice president. And I mean, this has happened a few months ago. I seen that, and I go, oh my God, I don't believe it. That he's actually going on national TV and speaking like he does. And we're actually the laughingstock and ridicule of a lot of other countries in the world over this. So let's go up now, take us out of the U.S., our faltering government, and really I believe the government's in free fall. I don't know who's running the country, how it's being done. There's all kinds of weird rumors about strange things going on. But let's look at it from a foreign perspective on how this whole global thing is going to work. Globalization is the key, all right? And that's one of the reasons people worry about the economy, people telling you to buy silver and gold. Money is a concept. Money has no actual tangent value, okay? Anybody, dollars, rubles, whatever the hell. It's truthfully meaningless. These stimulus checks and all this other shit and inflation, your money has no actual value other than what you believe, and that is global. No, nobody's currency does. I doubt there's any countries, they say that they have gold reserves that you know, back the money. Okay, in other words, the Bank of England has X amount of gold bars in the basement of a bank somewhere, that's what bases the country's net worth on. Well, there were some TV shows that showed that they've consumed it or lent it, and when they crunch the numbers, it don't add up, and this stuff is gone. So, in reality, and it is kind of weird to base it on that, because you know, nobody actually uses the material. It's like I have a pile of this and I have so much of it, so that means that my money is good. Okay, but it never sees the light of day, it never moves out of this bunker in the middle of nowhere, and nobody really knows how much is there or who has how much gold or what. So, just say, for just a point, okay, take money out of the equation, economy, money, all this other shit. It comes down to raw materials and other things, okay? That is the only thing of value. Who can produce electricity? Who has the raw materials, the oil, lumber, whatever, agriculture, and you know, room or space for animals to graze, to feed the masses and keep products like meat and eggs, butter, and all that other stuff to fill the grocery stores and grow crops. Okay? The problem is for everyone on the face of the planet. Okay? There ain't enough room for the amount of people we got to grow the food to feed them and keep the water and air clean. Okay? That's a problem for everyone. And of course, nobody's directly attacking that. Using that and the fact that money's worthless, this is what the one analyst said. You look at global power. So everyone's like, who's going to run the world and everything else? All right. Well, the only superpowers you have, basically, is three of them. All right. You got the United States, Russia, and China. And what it's going to come down to is not the wealth, the industrial might. Okay? Because the U.S. has the wealth. China has the industrial might, everything's being manufactured over there. And the Russians themselves just have a military and a manpower, but the Russians have natural resources, which China kind of doesn't. All right? So you take the three major powers and break them down. Well, how do we know who's going to be on top? Well, it used to be who has the size of the army, who has most control of, you know, satellite countries, and who has the industrial might to do it. That's how we won World War II. We could out-manufacture any country on the face of the earth. Okay? China at that time, they had more men. What it was, we found in the Korean conflict, they would just send more soldiers down than we could possibly shoot. Okay? And that is how they were a global power. It's just the sheer volume of people that can just flood into the country, armed or unarmed, would overwhelm you and destroy you. Okay? No need for nuclear weapons, none of this other fancy technology, just old-fashioned overwhelming you with numbers. Okay? So how this analyst kind of broke it down, the old factors that I just mentioned are no longer going to be what gives power. What's going to give power, and he listed the number one thing, is allies. Or how many countries are working with you, are allied with you through the military, economy, and all this other stuff. This is where power in the global arena is going to go. And how it breaks down, the United States, and it's not because of money, the United States has more allies than the other two countries. Russia has very few, okay? And plus, a lot of the states they controlled post-war during the Cold War have broken away and are not on good terms with them, and are not really quite allied with them like they were. So Russia's short on allies, but Russia has huge amounts of natural resources, land, and all that other fun stuff. Okay? China has kind of taken over as the manufacturing hub or the powerhouse doing that, but it's still a communist country, and on the world economy, there's something about China and the way that they're doing things with their money and how they stand on the world economy that there's going to be a change. There's going to be something they're going to be forced to deal with. Okay, it's not going to go on that way. So, when you break the power down that way, the U.S. is still going to be on top and the ones doing all the talking and everything else. Okay, but in looking at that in those terms, like I said, we got a government that's totally out of control. We got people running the country that make a public fool of themselves. We're losing the respect of our allies and the confidence in that this government is running correctly, okay, which is a problem globally in this whole thing. So whatever evil path all of this stuff started about a year or two ago is kind of breaking down. Okay, it's falling apart. The health issue, it's, they just keep coming up with another strain or thing or restrictions, and it's all BS, I mean, people do get sick from something, and it does take people's lives. But I don't believe it's at the extent that they portray it. Okay? Historically, there's always been illnesses, and they have been lethal, and that is a known fact. Okay, but I believe this is another ploy. Now, a lot of people say about the corruption and all the stuff and elitist and that. Yes, there is a group of people that control things. There always has been, there always will be. Okay? The problem is the governments and people being separated by culture, nationalism, and all this other stuff is a problem, because I guess the way this guy said, the only solution that will cure the problems coming is Marxism. Okay? He goes, that is the only form of world government that has any chance of working. Okay? Not so much communism, it's Marxism, okay, which I don't know that much about it, but the whole concept of where everyone's equal and works for a common goal and all this other stuff, okay, another form of communism, is the only way it works. And where people don't own things, and I guess you put everyone on one level. Of course, there's got to be somebody in charge, but yeah. So that was the theory, and I thought it was quite interesting because it's true. Fortunately for us, I haven't heard of any rioting, looting, okay, and in January, when the American people came out to our capital and had a peaceful show of support, okay, the mainstream media turned this into where anybody that spoke up or said they were a patriot or believed in America, all of a sudden these people were evil radicals out to murder our elected officials. Okay, and that was truly wrong. I believe that. That's when I realized, it's best to just wait and see how this plays out. Because honestly, right now, who's in charge, what are they doing, and what kind of strange crap is going on? Now, I'm going to do separate videos on different gun laws and things going on and that. And a lot of people, they're going to do this, or they're talking about doing that and everything else. But none of these things, like I said in my chat, have come through. And the violence is, gun violence, what they're complaining about, has escalated. We had, just here in the city I live by, fortunately I don't live in it, had two broad daylight gang-related shootouts on the main streets. They chase each other in cars and come to an intersection. One blocked Highway 40, the main interstate, and one blocked one of the main roads in town. And I mean, it was pretty violent. Okay, Friday I was watching it live on the news. That vehicle was riddled with bullets. All right, and this is during crowded time when people are traveling with their families. And at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, these assholes are shooting up the city. And of course, the people who run the city and the county made it to where it's just about impossible to buy a handgun or a gun because you can't get your background checks, you can't get your concealed carry permits, and they have basically thwarted anyone from legally being able to do this because you can't get into the office to get your background checks through the local authorities. They just basically kind of use COVID and the backlog and that to shut down the office, okay, without changing the law. They haven't changed the law. They haven't done everything. They just limit your access to government, your government services, law enforcement, okay, as their way of believing this will stop this. Well, it's not gonna. So, for me to go on and make more videos about it, because truthfully, I guess, in an overall conclusion, okay, the forces to be, and it's just reality, okay, the old systems of government, which the United States is one of them, I'm going to call established systems, no longer function and can go on functioning the way they were. Okay, the whole global system can no longer function the way it did in the past. Okay, like it or not, it's just things are going to get real bad in terms of shortages. They're saying we got another 10, 15 years before it's going to be difficult to get water, food shortages, and all this other stuff. Okay, and I think this whole past couple of years is nothing but a drill to see how people react and figure out how they are going to keep it under control. Okay, is what they're doing. Plans are being set for the future. Okay, and all this was dry run to see how it all works. Okay, and that's all what it is. So that's my take on it. I mean, our government, I believe, is in total free fall. Nobody knows what's going on. None of the rules or laws apply. And to step in and say, well, you know what, we're gonna get rid of all the people who are lying and corrupt. That means the whole government has to go. The whole system has to be removed. And you can't just do that. It's, again, impossible and impractical. Okay, and we create chaos on a scale that, was out of a sci-fi movie. All right, and that's why I guess we have to hold on and see and hope things sort themselves out. But on the other hand, it's no longer just the United States, it is a global problem, okay? And whatever goes on in this country does have an impact on the rest of the world. And see, that's another thing that I think a lot of people forget when they, because, well, it's the truth. When you're sitting there minding your own business, they're rioting and tearing downtown in your town, you can't drive across town without fear of being shot or run into a bunch of protesters, looters, or people setting half the city on fire. Okay, yeah, that's a problem. And that's an immediate problem. But what I'm saying is the problem is much larger and the implications or effects are extremely broad and global. Okay? And again, this country's turned into a laughingstock with the stupid stuff going on. So, in reality, I have no idea where it's going to go. I'm getting old, and really, there ain't a whole hell of a lot I can do other than just duck when you see it coming. You know, that's about all I can say about it. But that's my little political rant on the overall situation of U.S. and global effects. And I will be doing more videos talking about a lot of the issues of the gun laws and everything else and how that's going. The crisis, gun shows. I don't even think it's worth, well, more on that, going to gun shows anymore, but more on that when I make the video about it. Alright guys, thanks and stay tuned.